It was the difference between life and death. And I have the most incredible success story. My last fight, I knew I had hurt my shoulder, but I could tell that whatever it was intact. A week after I got the MRI that I had a retorn labrum. Came down here about 2 weeks later, got it stem celled and healed 100%. And I'm ready to fight. And upon the new MRIs, they can no longer trace a tear. And some of them were fast within 3 months.
Especially a high-level athlete like yourself, I don't know why anybody wouldn't do stem cells first. At least try.
Yeah.
Because surgery, you're going to be out.
Since coming here to the CPI in the past 2 years, I've been doing the clinical study. My brain function has actually went up. My reaction time has went up. And even though I'm getting in fights and training all the time, my brain is growing, which is insane.
CPI Podcast, we're back with Juliana Killer Miller, a.k.a. Juju.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah. It's so awesome to have you on here because we have so much history together.
Yeah.
It's been cool for me because, started on the mat in 1995, probably before you were born. And, I sponsored a lot of people.
Yeah,
especially
everybody.
Especially the gringos, the Americans. Now I get a chance to fix people that I used to help get themselves broken. And you're one of those people. So it's pretty cool.
It's very exciting. And when he says everyone, I mean legends from the beginning of the day. Nick Diaz and Nate Diaz, of course. But, Nick was the OG, got Nate into it. And I watch all his old fights because he's just so fun to watch. And all you can see is OTM across the shorts. It's incredible.
My favorite one is the Gomi with the Goga Plata.
Yeah.
That was such a killer. Great match. Nick's just such a legend.
Yeah.
Such a legend for sure. And this is the first time you're kind of really not down here because you're hurt, huh?
Yeah, it's very, very exciting. I just wanted to do a touch-up and redo my MRIs because I'm curious. I want to know the science of how things are actually working. And I'm what they call a super responder because I had big tears in my shoulders and in my knees that the UFC wanted me to go to surgery for. I requested, let me try stem cells, and upon the new MRIs, they can no longer trace a tear. And some of them were fast within 3 months.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, unless it's a complete tear, especially a high-level athlete like yourself, I don't know why anybody you wouldn't do stem cells first. At least try.
Yeah.
Because surgery, you're going to be out,
For a long time. My first tear was on my left shoulder, and it was a full tear. So they told me, he needs surgery regardless, and I was out for 2 years.
2 years?
When I tore the other side, there was only 3/4 of the way. It was still hanging on by a quarter, and so I'm like, put me into stem cells as fast as possible. The UFC was still pretty iffy about it because 3 months later, when I tried to get cleared to fight, I'll be fighting here soon, they said, no way, let me send you to an orthopedic surgeon to get a second opinion. The surgeon was almost gawking at me he did all the tests and he's like, you don't need surgery, why are you in here? And I was like, that's what I said, let's go. And my arms are stronger than ever before. I have no pain. Anywhere you've had surgery, if you live somewhere cold, I'm in Washington now, when it snows, walking out into the snow, you feel the pain. Even though my left side is healed, it's working great, I still feel the pain all the time, and I have none of that on any other injuries that are now fully healed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The weather definitely does mess with your injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I had my back surgery, going anywhere cold, that tightness, I didn't want to go anywhere cold because I just felt the pain and the stiffness of it so much more than I did living in SoCal.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever really get cold.
We're spoiled out here.
Where 60 degrees is cold. It's wild. So, yeah. What about your training up there? Is it harder to train when it's cold out and stuff?
Sometimes it's actually easier because there ain't shit to do. Besides snowboard. If you're an avid snowboarder and skier, it's amazing. But when I know I have a fight coming up, I want nothing to do with it because you're one crash away from a big injury. But it's in Cali, I would go train in the morning. I'd take my pup to Dog Beach, take a nap in the sun, and then go back to night class. And there's so much fun activities. Sometimes you're do I really want to go? And in Washington right now, it's cold and rainy. And I'm what else am I going to do? I would be in there 10 hours a day if coach would let me.
Yeah, that definitely meant less distractions.
Yeah.
But the actual weather, the cold doesn't bother you?
It does. My old injuries, I feel it a lot, and starting to warm up, it's a little uncomfortable, but we get the job done.
You guys crank the heat up at the gym? Or?
Yeah, we have a little space heater, but what's crazy is once the body heat gets going, it gets so hot in there, we got to open the doors.
Yeah.
Like the snow will feel good at that point.
And then getting that cold air, fresh air in there. That's cool, man. When did you move up there?
I moved up to Spokane, Washington approximately 3 years ago. I'd like to say shout out to 10th Planet San Diego. I still have an awesome relationship with my team back home. When I get a spectacular finish in the UFC, I'll be calling out Manolo Hernandez and Richie Martinez. They really started me on my journey. And the move was, just based on something good for me because our top girls were neck fusions and surgeries, and it was just the right thing for me at the time. Led me to Spokane, Washington. I'm with Sick Jitsu under Rick Little now. We have an incredible team. A huge inspiration to me is Michael Maverick Chiesa. He is ranked with Damian Maia for the most finishes in the UFC, all coming from rear naked chokes, which is insane because once he body locks you and gets you to the ground, there's no stopping him, and you're going to end up choked out. And I love that because if I can absorb a little of that game, I know I'll be unstoppable too.
Yeah. 10th plus, both those guys that you mentioned, absolute legends of the sport. Yeah, I love them both. Yeah, that's great. I also love the RNC. That was my favorite, get the back when I was doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That's how you take out the big guy, right? If you could get on their back.
Yep.
That's how. So I was always a back hunter.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could get around to the back, and I was good at the bow and arrow too.
It's a great bar move too. If someone's being an ultra dick and you're like, oh, I'm scared of you, as soon as he walks away, you're like, psych.
Yeah. Jump on that
Sleep.
back. Shh. Night,
Yeah.
So enjoying your time up here. Rick's down here right now, right?
Yeah.
Taking care of him.
Yeah, so I'm down here with Coach Rick right now. He had a pretty big tear, and he's healing it. He's also had old shoulder surgeries, so we've got 4 UFC people in our gym right now. Melissa will be in there very soon. We got Brady Heistan and Mike's, including myself. He holds mitts for a lot of legends, and it's a lot of wear and tear, and he realized, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. Thankfully, to you, Scotty, you talked him into it. It's going to be a great success.
I mean, he is skeptical AF. I mean, if we could convert him, right? If we could get him, show him that it works, we could get anybody.
Anybody. I was about to say, he's the most non-believer because some of his injuries happened when he was 19 playing football, and he's 50 now. So how can you reverse something that has been broken for 40 years? And yeah, he's definitely is like, I don't think it'll work, but when he sees the difference in the MRI, I'm like, you're going to have the whole Pacific Northwest rushing to get in here.
And just how you feel, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes MRI is not exact science, and sometimes you see a great improvement on the MRI, and sometimes you don't. But really, it just depends on how your joint works and how you're feeling. But old injuries are not an issue. I just had my dad come down, 85.
Yeah.
And he was looking to get both shoulders replaced. He was so skeptical about stem cells that, 3-4 years ago, he needed a knee replacement, and I couldn't convince him to come, and he got the knee replacement.
Yeah.
His recovery was brutal. It was terrible at his age. And so more my brother, convinced him, like, what do you got to lose, old man? Come down and try the stem cells. It'll work great for me. And so he got both his shoulders done, and 4 months later, the only reason why I think he was open to it was because they told me he couldn't play golf. Yeah. Which would be like, all right, I'm done, you know? And so, 4 months later, playing 18 holes of golf. His only complaint is he has to put his golf bag in a cart and walk instead of throw it over his shoulder and lug it around the golf course. But he might be able to do that soon,
Yeah, I was going to say he wouldn't have even made it to the golf course had it not been for the stem cells. So that's still a one-up.
If you had to do one shoulder at a time because you can't do both, I don't need.
Shoulders are brutal. I've torn, both of mine, and I've learned enough to be like, that is the worst surgery. The ligaments are really small and there's no good blood flow regardless of what you do, and so healing is rigorous. Like, you think an ACL would be worse, but it's a much bigger ligament and it's actually easier to get things to heal there. So double team is just terrifying to me. I'm like,
I did my rotator cuff shoulder. That does not tickle.
Yeah.
It does not tickle. Those first couple nights afterwards, you're like, oh, God, don't touch it.
Yeah.
And if you roll over in it in the middle of your sleep, woo.
Yeah, I was so worried. I was like, how am I going to have fun with my boyfriend now? I was just like, when I got out, I was like, oh, no.
I warn people all the time, like, okay, you would think like the discs in the back or somewhere else, but nope, it's a very complicated joint. Usually takes a lot of stem cells. Normally takes multiple injection sites to really get, when someone's shoulder's bad, it's usually pretty bad.
And I have the most incredible success story because my last fight, I knew I had hurt my shoulder, but I could tell that whatever it was intact. And, a week after I got the MRI, that I had a retorn labrum. Came down here about 2 weeks later, got it stem celled, and healed 100%, and I'm ready to fight, and I'll be fighting the end of February or early March, so it's to be determined, but I know it's coming soon.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Was that, do you remember how was a specific injury that caused your shoulder?
Yeah, I remember exactly how it was, and it was really stupid because I K'd myself in the process. It was one of our last sessions before we settled things down, and I was with a training partner, Ethan. He's a little bigger and stronger, which is perfect because I'm little for my division. And he said, listen, you grab him, you put him on the cage, and you take him down. I don't care what else you do. And I just charged at him and grabbed him, and that was my only thing. Put the head down and grab him and get him down. Well, I didn't do it the most intelligently, so I body locked him, and as I put him to the cage, he did a half whizzer chuck. For those of you that don't know what that is, his arm went underneath my arm, and he basically moved his body like that. And when I was in, as soon as he shuck me, I went head first into the wall. And when I went that, I K'd myself a little bit. I basically fell down. But the important thing is my arm separated from my body with a body lock. So this went out, and then my head went head first into the wall. And coach was standing right by me, and he was worried that I shattered my neck or something because all you could hear was and then I hit the floor, and it took me maybe 2-3 seconds to wake up, which doesn't seem like much, but when someone hits their head, it's pretty scary. Mm-hmm. And I popped up, and I was like, no, I think I'm good. I'm good to go. And I finished the rest of training, and then I did like 5 or 6 rounds live grappling with one of my girls, Christine Campbell. I had a great training session, and then the next day I couldn't move my neck, and when I went to strength and conditioning and I tried to do a side movement, I knew right away. I was like, yeah, that was dumb, and I tore myself.
Time to get MRI.
Yeah. But thankfully, I knew that it wasn't fully torn. When something's fully torn, you will lose the ability to use your arms. I fought Luana Santos with a fully torn labrum, and I was very stubborn and stupid, and I said, yeah, I'll kill this bitch with one arm. I don't care. That's not how it works in the UFC. Will is huge, but so is body. In the UFC, they want it as bad as you. They're working as hard as you. They're training as hard as you. And they also want to make a name for themselves. So you can't give someone an inch, let alone the mile that I gave them. But I was fortunate enough to, when I had people putting pressure on my arms, I knew I was like, okay, it's not fully torn. As long as I'm intelligent, make it through this, I'll get it healed. So it ended up working out really great. But thanks to CPI, I'm superhero now, and don't blink my next fight because I'm going to do something spectacular.
So last fight you were still injured, or was healed up?
I was injured, yeah. I did the injury 2 weeks before my last
2
fight.
2 weeks before, wow. Mm-hmm. You still won.
Yes, I did.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Very
I didn't
exciting.
know you were hurt going into that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't let myself believe it. So there was one person that knew was my strength and conditioning coach, because there was certain movements that I would be like, nope. And he's like, why? And I was like, I'm not doing it. He's like, why? And I was like, I know I tore something, but I know it's small enough to win, so I'm not doing anything more to irritate it. My sparring had already been toning down, so I knew as long as I wasn't a dummy and had slammed myself again that I'd make it.
Damn. Yeah, you know, I never fought any big fights like you have, but I just remember like even going into tournaments, you know, with an injury, it's always, you know, kind of, it was always back there for me.
I lied to myself about it though, because in the interviews they're like, "You're coming off an injury, how you doing?" And I was like, "Nope, I'm strong and ready to go." I just refused to let my mind go there because I knew I still had functionality of it. But now that I'm healed and now that I kept my job in the UFC, we had what's called a chopping block fight. We were both on multiple losses and the loser leaves town. We knew that. And so it was imperative to get the win. Why my fight was a little more boring, because I didn't care how I won. I knew that if I won, I'd keep my job and then be able to climb to more exciting performances from there. So it was imperative that I won that, and I did, and it felt so good.
Yeah, that was a great fight. That was good.
Yep.
Yeah, it was exciting.
Next one will be better.
The next one, I'll be there. Let's go. Let's go. Well, what else is going on? Are you doing anything besides training?
Yes, I have traveled a lot. I got to come visit my friends and family at home. I've been to more shows than you can imagine, and I feel like this has developed my brain in much other than just in the cage. I've been reffing fights, I have commentated fights, I have ring announced fights. And I think some of my biggest learnings came from reffing, because my heart would be racing like I was fighting. And with the amateur fights I was wrestling, I could see mistakes. I was like, why would you do that? That's so silly. And then I'd watch my amateur fights. I'm like, oh, I made that mistake. And I would see things where I'm like, I definitely won't do that again. And I loved it, because you get to be in there without being in there, and the experience counts.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, when you're right there watching it, it's wild. Like when you're reffing, you just see so much, and the brain's cataloging, you know, like, oh, okay.
For some reason, I end up with the craziest fights too. They'll be like, "You want gloves?" I'm like, "No, the girls will be fine. It won't be that bloody." And then, you know, a minute in, there's a busted nose and blood everywhere. And I, you know, looked to the medic next to me. I'm like, I guess I should have taken the gloves, but it was a great fight, and I had a blast.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good.
Yeah.
So you're just fully immersed in the fight world right now. All you're doing is commentating, reffing, and training.
Yep.
And competing.
And the other thing that I'm doing that's been really awesome is a boatload of healing. There's 2 places I would like to mention. So one thing that I learned when I was looking for ways to expand the use of stem cells is I found that the hyperbaric chamber can almost triple your healing time and help your cells connect faster, stronger, and make you more durable. I think part of the reason I have had such high success rate in all my stem cells is I took the 2-3 weeks off that I needed. For most people, it's going to be a lot longer, but I didn't have something directly in a disc. After that, I did my physical therapy, and then I went to healing places. I'd be 2-3 times a week in a hyperbaric chamber, and then I'd use the red light therapy. I'd be on a PEMF mat. So the other thing that I do almost every day is recovery and healing, and taking the time to do anything that I believe is 1%, right? If everything's 100%. If you do 10 things that make you 1% better, 10% is a huge advantage when you get to the top level. So any of the things that I believe will make me better, I go all in on that 1%, and I think it'll give me a good advantage.
Hyperbaric is, I mean, I love all 3 of those. I do all 3 of the ones that you mentioned too. But yeah, hyperbaric, it'd be great if there was a way, like after people compete, you know, after they have their fight, you could just go like hyperbaric right away afterwards, because it's so good for the brain. Yeah. You know,
as soon as I get home from my fights, the 2 companies I work with are the CPI Performance Institute and COR, C-O-R, Core Regenerate, and both of them have a bunch of different facilities, but the CPI Performance Institute is the one I do the most. The week before I leave in my fight, I'm in there 3 or 4 times before takeoff, and then as soon as I come home, the first thing I do is hyperbaric.
That's great.
Because, you know, the shots to the head are definitely I want to be cognitive in my older age. But more so than that, if you get hit in camp and say you get dropped, or my last fight, I kind of K'd myself before the fight. That's the worst thing you can do is get punched in the head again. And so I was trying to give myself every advantage by letting my brain heal, and it worked out great. Another cool thing is when I was coming up, I trained with a girl named Liz Carmouche, and I got brutally K'd maybe 10 times in my first year, enough so that they were like, I don't know if you should fight. And she got me into something called the Cleveland Clinic, which studies the brain. And since coming here to the CPI in the past 2 years, I've been doing the clinical study every single year. My brain function has actually went up. My reaction time has went up. And even though I'm getting in fights and training all the time, my brain is growing, which is insane.
Yeah. Shout out Liz. She's been down here.
Yeah.
We love her.
Bellator world champ right now.
That's right.
She just won a belt, and so that's absolutely incredible. And thank you, Liz, for your tough lessons, because excuse my language, but you turned me into one tough ass bitch. I can promise nobody in my division hits like her. So yeah,
Cleveland Clinic, that's a super famous place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're doing like brain mapping, MRI. What do they do?
Yeah, they do an MRI of your brain, and then it's an entire day of testing. They have you say a story, and then 3 hours later you have to say the story exactly the same. So they see what's going on in your brain. They have you do these computer games where you have a reaction time. They say random letters in the alphabet, and you have to remember them. You have to remember numbers and then repeat them back in reverse. They have 10 random words, and then they wait and talk to you. 10 minutes later, you have to repeat all the words. And then they do a series of concussion scans where you stand on these pads, and they track everything that you could ever possibly imagine. Memory, focus, reaction time. It's really cool.
I would probably flunk all of those.
Not anymore.
Especially the numbers and with my dyslexia. No. Yeah. When I'm flying, I got to write everything down and talk to myself, and then like put it into the comms and stuff, because I will flip those numbers.
I do that all the time. My friends laugh at me. I'm like, let's go into the seats heated. And they're like, heated seats? And I'm like, same difference.
Yeah.
I flip words all the time. And it's funny.
Mine's numbers is terrible. It's especially in the plane. I'm like always double, triple, quadruple checking.
I mean, I've been on a flight, though. Don't let him trick you. Yeah. It's the safest, most calm flight ever. Even when there was a little bit of weather and storm where I was like, oh, no, are we going to be shaken? It was smooth sailing. So I'd fly with you any day.
That's not me. That's the autopilot. That's the plane skills, not mine. But, yeah. Was there bad weather when we flew?
No, it wasn't. But then
turbulent?
We ended up going through some clouds where you were like, oh no, it might get rocky.
Yeah.
But you handled it smoothly. It wasn't scary at all.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. Too many flights now. I can't remember them all, So I hit a big mile marker, 500 hours.
Let's go.
That's a big one for pilots. Yeah. So far, haven't crashed. And
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 on that one.
Yeah.
I'm good. And it's good stuff for you, man. Well, I'm really happy to see you.
Yeah.
Glad you made it back down here. Go ahead, shout out all your sponsors, all the places that have been helping you out.
I just want to give Scotty a shout out. So Scotty knew me since I was about 17 years old, and I was a crazy kid. I was all over the place. I couldn't figure out what I was doing. In fact, I was a little rave girl. I was just going to be starting my jiu-jitsu journey, and I had no gear. I had no idea where to get gear, and we had a mutual friend that connected us, which was really awesome. Shout out to that guy too, because he really helped me learn some sneaky jiu-jitsu, and it developed a lot of my style now. So I appreciate you for that. But I had no gear, I had no gi, I had no gloves, but I was a good massage therapist. So I was like, any way I could offer you a trade. I was like, I'll do an epic hour massage. And in return, Scotty gave me my first ever gi. It was a Marcelo Garcia gi, A1. I still have that gi saved. It is absolutely epic. Marcelo Garcia, also a legend. My first pair of OTM gloves and shin pads, which was huge for me at the time because I had a few different jobs, but I was definitely struggling and I didn't know what to do. And I was just doing this kind of stuff for fun. And later in life, through a point where I had hit rock bottom and I was at my craziest and emotionally unstable, and there's one point in my life where I really, really didn't want to be on this earth anymore. And not to talk about the negative too much, but it was really beautiful because the first person I called was Scotty. I was like, I hate myself. I'm not good at anything. Do you know of anything, that I could do to get better? You're one of the most successful people I know. And he said, if you want it, I know of an emotional intelligence program. And if you fundraise money, I will help sponsor whatever is left. I went around to everyone I've ever known, old coaches, teammates, pastors, my parents. Like, I went around to everyone. I was like, listen, I want to die and I hate my life. So this is all I know that maybe will put me on a new path and I can rebuild my brain muscle and do something for it. I ended up fundraising exactly half of the cost. Choice Leadership University in Las Vegas, and Scotty sponsored me for the second half. And this is something where you can push someone as much as you want to go in there and it won't work. But if you reach such a low point that you're like, I want to learn and grow, this is the best thing that you could ever do in your life. I was thriving through Choice, and when I ended up in Ultimate Fighter, I was actually on my second portion of Choice called Journey Within. Shout out Dominic Cruz, who was one of the coaches of that season, and I ended up leaving into the fighter house during my Journey Within. The coaches were so amazing. They did printouts of the things that I had to do daily in order to pass the course, and every morning in the house before I trained, I would do my readings, I would do my quotes, and I would do a few other things that they have you do in this program. And it was unbelievable because when I started Journey Within, I was lost. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought maybe I wanted a family. I was about to apply to the military to become a pilot. I didn't really think that I was good at fighting, nor did I want to fight anymore. And I kept saying, like, I just need a sign. I want a sign. And a few weeks into that, I got a message from the promoter of, hey, we're going Ultimate Fighter. You want to join? I was like, no, I'm done fighting. A week later, they said, we'd really like you on the show. Why not knock something off your bucket list? It's a reality TV show. Like, come on. And then I was in, and when I went in, I was all in. I won my fights, and it's so crazy because we ended up getting out of the house a day early. The next day was our graduation weekend. So the first person I saw was Scotty. He picked me up and ended up driving me to the completion of our Journey Within course. And at that time, you sign a DBA, a TBA?
NDA.
NDA. You sign an NDA, so you can't really talk about it. So there were certain things I couldn't say, but he's known me long enough to see a look in the eye where he was like, I'm proud of you, kid.
You did good. I knew you did good just by how you look on your face. Yep.
So it was absolutely beautiful. And the graduation of that course led to the biggest successes in my life. For those of you listening, like, I was really at rock bottom, and, mental things are huge. And I will say that, like, my lowest days today are 1,000 times higher than when I was there. And it's just really beautiful because all you need is one person that believes in you or one mentor. So to be sitting here with you, how incredible is that from, like, a person who had nothing that would, be begging for advice or help. And for those of you out there, if you help one person, you have no idea how it could change the trajectory of your life. I truly believe had I not done those things, I wouldn't be here today. And then here I stand. He knew me as a crazy kid that would recycle cans for gas money to now I own my own house. My brain's become stronger. I'm in the UFC, and I'm about to have a spectacular finish with you in my corner. It's beautiful.
I love it. Yeah.
And Also, shout out to Ed Clay. He helped enroll me into that. He's also been a huge mentor and somebody that I'm very thankful for. And, the two of you are a super team.
We are.
It's incredible. And I know that, I'm one of those people. You've changed a million lives, but for me, it was the difference between life and death. And not only am I just living, I'm thriving and becoming the best version of myself. So,
yeah. Well, thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that. And it's been awesome to see you go through this. And, things are probably crazy. That was back when my back was broken. I hadn't had stem cells in it. Any chance to get a massage, I'm in there. So it all just worked out perfectly. Like, oh yeah, my back hurts for sure. Let's trade. And, you have a very good point. It's just like that. That's always kind of the way I've been. It's like if I have a chance that I can support somebody, I can help somebody, why not? And, it just all comes back.
Yeah.
There's just been so many people, especially in the fight game, they were new in the fight game and we became friends and stuff. And so many of them are superstars. I just had Kenny Florian down here, my old roomie from Brazil back in
Ken Flo's a man.
2000s, and just so many people, like that who have, we've all been at the bottom, right? And it's a choice to climb back up. And, get up and get yourself out of it, right? Some people don't make that choice. And when people like us, when we've been there and you see somebody else putting the effort that wants to climb back out. For me, I feel obligated because I'm so blessed in my life that if I can lend a helping hand let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's go. You can't force somebody to do it, but if they're willingly on that path and you can help them move along the path, then that's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Beyond the help, though, shout out, we've also had some really fun times from, Tulum to Puerto Rico, all over the world. So I've had some of the funnest starts to my New Year's with Scotty. So not only just the mental health, but physically too. We've had a lot of fun.
We got a good group of friends that travel together.
We have an epic friends group. Yep. Shout out Dan and Katie Hart. They're freaking amazing. I met them through Scotty, and near and dear to my heart, some of my favorite people on the planet. But it is crazy because you're in a field of, where you're helping people. Fighters are not the most reliable people on the planet, and most of them were fighting because we were a little fucked up. Something happened in our past, our childhood, and you're struggling. You can see it with everyone. So you're helping somebody that you don't really know how it's gonna go, and that's one cool thing is that we're doing here at CPI is you're doing things that can actually help regenerate your brain. I mean, there's people that have come in from the military with traumatic brain injuries from bombs, explosions, cancer patients that are in stage 4, and they really are dying. And they've been able to go into remission and have years and years added onto their life, which is huge. And it's really cool because every time I do a speech, when I talk, commentate or anything, is I always say, first off, shout out to our military, because we would not be able to fight had it not been for you. My dad was in the military, his dad was in the military, and my dad's dad was the medic for the Vietnam War. He saw so many crazy things in war that he didn't make it too much further in life after the war. But, without our military, we wouldn't be able to do all this fun fighting and training and everything that we do. And then my second shout out is those that are battling cancer and terminal illnesses. Y'all are the real warriors. When I was in my rock bottom, the time I wanted to take my life, Scotty said, why don't you come down to the cancer hospital and talk to some people? And I did. And I met a person that had a severe tumor on their head, and he was such an incredible man, one of the most positive human beings I've ever met. Wrote a song about the green juice blues, and it changed my life forever because here I lived in California, and my life was decent, and I was so miserable and hating myself when I saw people battling for their lives that are the most kind-hearted, strong-willed, and positive people you've met. positivity can go such a long way. Like if you're like, well, I'm done, you're probably done. But if you see someone that's like, I'm going to fight through this, and they make it, like everyone that has gone through cancer, I am so honored to even know about your journey, like what y'all do. You're a real warrior, and it's incredible. And I'm like so thankful you've been able to help so many people and change my mindset in the meantime, because we are very blessed. If you are not fighting for your life, you are incredibly blessed. And that's something that I will carry with me. Along one other thing, there was a time where I asked Scotty, I was like, I'm going to be fighting. And he looked at me and said, don't let that bitch take your money. So I need on a funny note, when I go in there and I do my face-offs, your voice goes through my head, don't let this fucking bitch take your money. You ain't taking my money. Let's go.
That's true. It's really... it's hard to feel sorry for yourself when you get to spend time with cancer patients like we do. And, so much of what we've learned over the years in fighting and what works and what doesn't work, and in learning from emotional intelligence how to, be the person for that person that needs it, that extra positivity and stuff. But yeah, I always tell people, like, if you're feeling sorry for yourself, like boo-hoo, wah-wah, come down to the cancer hospital and let's hang out, and you can get in touch with how great your life really is, because cancer's no joke. It's a motherfucker.
It straightened me up real quick, and that's why it's always part of any speech that I get to have when I'm helping with these smaller shows, is because everyone has someone they know that are in the military or that is struggling with cancer, and so it affects a majority of our population, and you just deserve to be recognized and cherished, because that's a real warrior right there.
Amen. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Great to see you as always. Anything else? Anybody you want to shout out or anything?
Yes. So late February to early March, it will be TBA here pretty soon, but I have something cooking in the books. Please stay tuned and follow me. I will have Scotty by my side, and I'm going to be getting my spectacular finish. I've talked about it a lot, but the more you say it, the more it comes to life. Shout out to Choice Leadership University and Robin. They've helped me a lot. A big shout out to my 10th Planet San Diego team. A big shout out to all my Sick Jitsu team. A special shout out to my girl Melissa Amaya. She's 8-0 right now, my main training partner. Life is so fun and great with you, and you guys will see her in the UFC soon. Some of my sponsors that I believe in is Be Kinetic. It's an energy drink, but it has no caffeine and no added sugars. And I think that ketones are a great way to run your day without getting jitters. I like it before I train, and I don't feel any brain fog or anything craziness from that. My gear, Rev Gear, is awesome. And one of my favorite sponsors, kind of silly, but chips.gg. They are an online cryptocurrency casino. I'm not allowed to bet on UFC fights, but I can bet on NFL and a bunch of other fun things. So that is absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.